Ryan, we are back. This is the second captain interview. Today I have the captains of the Overcooked Octilleries. I have Knull and I have some rando here. No, I'm just joking. Of course, it's Esther.
So true.
How are you guys doing today? You want to introduce yourselves?
Thank you. My name's Null, and I'm the one who actually runs stuff in OCO, and this is Esther, who's going to carry the team in terms of, well, listen.
Yeah. I'm Esther. I do like none of the management shit. I get very lazy. I don't want to do it. Null also just does it before I wake up, so it's like it's great.
No guy got no life, is what I'm hearing.
Learned it from the best.
Oh, they learned it from me the best.
Oh shit.
Right.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't know if you guys watched the first episode.
You two are peas in the pod in terms of fucking no life bullshit.
Dude, me and Null have been around forever. Crazy. Like, dude.
Oh jeez.
Like, God, when did we meet each other? 2020? It's 2025.
20. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Dude, we were 18 when we met. Well, what
yeah,
are we 23 now?
Pretty much. I think I was 18.
That's wild.
But
yeah,
no, I think
that's wild.
I was 17. I was 17. I just turned 18. yeah.
Oh
shit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's crazy that I'm younger than both of you.
Go ahead.
It's crazy that I'm younger than both of you, but I've been playing draft for so much longer.
Yeah, I don't know how, bruh. You've been playing this shit since you've been 13?
Yeah, pretty much exactly, yeah.
Right, alright. Alright, if you watched the first episode, you'll know I have questions for you guys. Preset questions are going to be the same ones as in the first episode. Alright, so we're just going to go on to our first question. What are your guys' captaining experience?
Yes, sir. First.
You talk about the guy who said he's been here forever, right? So go ahead and big shot.
Yeah. Hey, I sort of played a lot. I'm not good. But yeah, I captained last season, obviously. I've captained a couple of seasons of TDT, early TDT, obviously. You know, before it was super big when it still had LC. And I also captained a season of Clash of Kings. Back when that was like a thing as well.
Singles goon.
This guy's been around forever.
I know. I said I've been around forever. I'm not. I've never been good. I have the worst combined team tour record for all singles players who have above 20 games. It's a record no one can take from me because no one else will be allowed to lose that many games.
Yeah, don't call us like record holders for nothing. We are up there.
At least your doubles record's way better. You found out why you were asked at singles. You were a VGC goon all along. You just didn't know.
I guess I guess that's true. I don't know. I don't like grind VGC the same way I grind singles, which I think leads to me having like a lot better mindset than I did when I played a lot of singles. Singles also just fucking takes so long, man. It's terrible. Hate playing singles. Doubles, I can click so much more. So much more shit happens, I guess.
His ADHD brain is satisfied in doubles.
Alright.
Yeah.
As for me, I have like only last season's STC as experience, which is why I don't really have much on my resume. But I have been an active goon since a while in team tours. I love doing just activity farming. So I think in terms of captainship, I think should be decent. We know how to keep a server active for sure.
It was actually kind of funny. I had mentioned you before. I was listing off people who I thought were essential to WBG mod team. I listed you off. Let's go. So it's a singles guy. It was to K Kirk specifically, and he was like, "Oh, no, sounds familiar. I think I've heard that name before, but I can't quite put my finger on it." And I was like, "Yeah, he's played in singles team tours, but he doesn't really like get out as much. Like he's kind of just in like WBG stuff right now."
I think I did team up with him. I think maybe Bob, was it?
No, I mentioned Bob. If you've seen it from anywhere, maybe it was Bob. I think Bob was your most one, or PGP, but I doubt he was paying attention to PGP.
Sure.
All right, we're gonna go on to our next question here. We got, what are your guys' expectations going in? What do you expect of yourselves? What do you expect of the other captain courts that you now have been revealed? Other things like that. The player pool. Of course, it's only 2 days in, but we have a pretty strong player pool. Sorry, not even 2 days. It's 1 day in. 1 day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not even 24 hours. But we as captains, I think we did pretty well last season. Honestly, we got hacked in playoffs, but it is what it is. We'll not yap about that right now. But I think we're pretty I'd say we're just activity monsters. So the thing is, if you're honestly active with us in our team server, I think we can pretty much prep any matchup, regardless of how bad it is, with enough of our bullshit prep. Hence the name Overcooked, because we cook a little too much sometimes. But yeah, I think in terms of prep, we're gonna probably go with the same idea, in which we're gonna be mainly focused on the tier D, and if we can get players who can just win their games, that's best case scenario. Because last time we did struggle a bit with that, with people actually winning after everything. But yeah, anything else, Esther?
I think when it comes to overcooking specifically, most of that is me. I will burn the kitchen down.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we do tend to be a pretty grind out matchups kind of team. I think in terms of Capcore player skill, obviously I was Usum MVP last season, but I also had zero competition. And in terms of player skill, we may not be last. I may be LARPing a little bit, but I do think that we are not one of the strongest cap cores in terms of player strength. So we're gonna have to really kind of drag it out effort wise, and however we can. I will be forcing my team to claim forfeit wins.
No rescheduling and be like, take your win.
No rescheduling.
Yeah,
take your win or force them to sub. There is nothing else.
We have no sympathy here.
There's no sympathy. Yeah. I think that's a good point. I remember, I think who was it? Was it me or Robin who tried to get you to join season 2? Esther. I think it was me.
It was you.
It was me.
It was you.
And I told you stay low key, and then you didn't. You missed out on a free team tour chip. It sucks to be you.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
But
even if you were on a bad team, you did pretty well on
the
a bad
wrong
team.
captains too.
You did do pretty well on a bad team, and it does show that your strength as a player. That even if you are on a bad team, you can do well. I know Knull was also on a bad team. I think he was on the same bad team, and after going from 30k to 30k, Knull was like, "I'm tired of this. I'm gonna captain."
We actually met in the same team, in which we both Esther did decent and I did terribly in the season, and our captains were they were something. We didn't exactly perform too well that season, but we did meet there, and so we realized that what's the point in apping when only us two are running the entire thing anyway? So yeah, might as well run it ourselves.
Yeah,
I have high expectations for your team.
I fully internally overthrew partway through the season. I was sick of my captain shit, so I just started fucking captaining myself, and I was like, fuck it. Why do it indirectly? If I'm gonna overtake my team, I might as well just actually be captain in name as well.
I've done that before. I've done that before a couple times, definitely. Yeah, I have decent expectations for you guys. I think you guys are one of the stronger cap cores. You're definitely up there. I would say on the top half, off the top of my head. This is excluding myself. I'm not going to include myself on this list. I'm not going to include myself, so I think you guys are up on the top half.
Does he know he'd be one if he put himself on the list? Of course,
egomaniac. The glaze, the self glaze. Hopeless and his endless glazes.
Back-to-back champion right here, bro. I deserve all the glaze. All right, next question. Thoughts on the current formats, as well as the 3SV, 2 Swish, 2 Usum?
I think honestly the current thing is SV is pretty balanced right now. I think people have gotten a pretty good handle on the metagame. So there's a bunch of SV players. Almost everyone can slot SV at this point, because everyone who got into VGC in this current regulation as well has been quite active in like the normal VGC space. So I think SV is gonna be pretty decent enough. The main issue is like finding the lower tiers, but sorry, the what's it called, older
Casters.
generations. Yeah, but at least because of WBG season, there's going to be a few more players who are willing to actually play out Usum and Swish. Because last time we were definitely dire of some Swish players. But yeah, hopefully this time there's going to be a lot more people who are actually wanting to play some of the older gens.
Knull has insider info that nobody else has because he's an admin. We were talking about adding auras. My whole argument is if we cannot find aura, if we can't find Usum mains, where are the auras mains? Who's playing this tier? Oh man.
Yeah, no. The Usum mains the Usum mains are in short supply. The Oras mains would be in shorter supply. I would probably be willing to try Oras. I maybe like held at gunpoint and said, you know, you have a good record in Usum, go play Usum. You know, I because I've been playing for like a while in singles. The format that I started in singles was very briefly Oras draft and then Usum draft, but singles versions. So that's why I kind of feel comfortable with like old gens doubles because I did dabble back then. Like I didn't hard focus on learning doubles back then, but I had some practice at the time, and you know.
Yeah, I think there's some value as a captain to be able to have to be able to flex, right? You said it yourself.
Yeah.
I think it was season 2. I think you tried to get a win in every tier. I don't remember if you did.
Not tried.
I did. I got one. Yeah, I got one in every tier.
But like that shows that you can flex, right? There's always value. Essentially, I would value as a captain a player who can like flex tiers, right? As in, instead of a player who just wants to play one tier the entire time, if they can flex between tiers and be like confidently solid in different tiers, like it's fine, right? Like let's say I was in the player pool, right? You could reasonably flex me between SV, Swish, or Usum, even if I do have like one of the best Swish records in the tour, right? Just between 2 seasons, right? You could reasonably. I've flexed Usum in both seasons, right? And it's been like if you need a flex, like you move that player around, right? Because it'll help your team.
Yeah,
I think there's always value in teams to draft those flex slots. Or if you don't draft a flex slot, you as a captain, if you can flex, then that's valuable as well.
Yeah, because last season as well, we were discussing this. We're like, oh, one of us should flex and one of us should like main a single tier and just kind of focus on that. And since like Esther really wanted to try out like maining Usum completely, we were like, okay, like Esther, you do that, and I'll like jump around the tiers wherever's necessary. So like last season, I was doing a lot of SV, Swish, and Natix. Was like, I think I got to win in everything other than Usum, who only Esther was playing. So yeah, I think one player sticking in one tier and the other flexing around is probably like the best balance to get, you know, best of both worlds.
It took you a while to get a Swish win. No shade, no shade.
What? I think I went like at least positive in Swish, so that's not baiting.
Next question: best of 7 or best of 8? Now I will put the context here. I know Knull knows it. I don't know if Esther does. So if you're best of 8,
you yapped about it to me.
This would be a rotating slot. So the rotating slot would be 4 SV 1 week, 3 Swish 1 week, 3 Usum 1 week, and then it would rotate from there. It's going to end up with you're going to end up playing an extra SV, but that's fine because that's current gen. Nobody really complain about an extra SV unless it's your worst gen, but if SV is your worst gen, then that's you as a captain.
You have all the problems.
Yeah. Anyway, best of 7 versus best of 8.
I think like 3-man Usum and stuff like that. If you do like 3-man a week, Usum is gonna be a bit tricky for sure. But like I think honestly, if your like player pool depth is big enough, I think it should be manageable. You need a lot more flex players of this time. I think you can't just have like one Usum player and then you kind of just like swap him back and forth. I think you're gonna need like everyone to be able to like be more flexible for sure.
Yeah, I knew about the rotating thing. I think I knew about it before Knull because you were like yapping at me DMs saying, "Oh yeah, you remember how you wanted to like be a flex player next season?" You're like, "That's not happening. There could be 3 Usum slots next season." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean there's going to be 3 Usum slots? What?" I'm pro the rotating slot. I think if the player pool's there, I think it's fun. I think it it will benefit stronger teams who put the effort in to have players that are good across everything, rather than having like I know that it's kind of like a meta in team tours to have have your hard locked players for each slot, and they just have a draft that only they're comfortable with and only they can use. And I feel like it's a bit cringe, and I would prefer to have just like I want to see people have stronger drafts overall that more people use, rather than one person logging into one super draft.
Oh, that's me. That's me. If you draft me in Swish, I want my Moltres Galar draft.
Shut up, Galarian is
Give me my Moltres Galar draft. Nobody else touches my draft. This is my draft. I'm drafting it. I don't care what the rest of the team says. That's me. That's me.
Yeah.
So me personally, I always prefer best of 8. I think best of 8 is a lot interesting. It keeps the standings a lot closer, especially because you introduce the fact of ties, right? So I think we talked about this before, Esther, where I was like your team last season, my team too, right? My team and your team were kind of similar in that end, where we had like 4. My team had more 3 consistent wins. We should have had 4 with Trace, but what happened with him. He already knows. But basically, we had 3 consistent wins, right? My team, we had 3 consistent wins, and like our other guys went positive. Like our middle guys, like a lot of guys did very well. He went 5-2 whole season. Impulse did very well. He went 5-2, right? So like, we were able to get those wins, but like in a best of 8, we might have ended up tying more weeks than straight up winning.
Oh yeah,
right. And it will keep the standings a lot closer, because usually by like week 5-6, a team might be out. Right. This happened before, where a team just gets completely slaughtered. Robin's team got completely slaughtered. Right. And I think the season prior, like Flipsicle actually kept it close. Both times he kept it very close. Where he was
surprisingly, honestly, I don't know how he managed.
I actually think in a best of 8
almost
format,
overtook our team.
In a best of 8 format, Flipsicle might have been able to make playoffs, because his teams were like almost there at the cusp a lot of times, right? And it might have just been because it was a best of 7 format.
Not last season, but definitely the season before, he could have made it.
He could have made it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think it'll keep the standings a lot close, right? Because let's say your team does lose like 3-4, 3-4, 3-4. In a best of 8, you could have went 4-4 and tied, right? And you're not losing; you're still getting a point on the board, right? So it'll keep things closer overall for sure.
And it also rewards players who are actually like getting more in depth in their like player pool, and not just focusing on like the top guys and getting a bunch of mid bids.
Right.
So if you have like a good depth,
also people get to play more. There's more, you get to play more of your players, right? So I mean, it's like a win-win for everybody. Especially because more people get to play, which is the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm in favor of best of 8, because I think it keeps the season more competitive overall.
I could see it for sure.
I'm also in favor. I just it's like a player pool. I think honestly, player pool seems really solid in terms of like. I think there's going to be enough interest. We may see some matchups that are hard for us to watch, but there's definitely enough people who are interested in playing at a high level. Who knows?
It's true.
All right, next question.
I cannot wait for the cheesy Rising matchup.
Rising has to get drafted first. You better convince Piranha Plant to draft him and then run back to Sin.
If they don't, that's kind of like shame. That's like your OG captain. So that's like you can't be haters that far.
You can't hate.
It would be crazy to take his captain slot and then not draft him. That'd be nasty.
Piranha Plant, if you're watching this. All right, next question. What are your guys' values as a manager? What do you value? Like from your players and all this stuff like that.
I think Knull and I kind of value we kind of value activity, but it's more of like a communication thing, really. We kind of want to be able to talk things through. We really like to yap a lot. Some of us more than others. Knull likes to yap more than me, but we both like to yap a shit ton. And even if you don't agree with us on like ideas for prep, we want to know why you think it. We want to understand your thought process. we had a teammate last season, 200 racists. You know,
Infamous band user 200 racists.
infamous band user 200 racists. And you know, like we got him partway through the season. He is in all respects like he's not the worst player that we had on our team.
That's crazy. Considering the fact that he was racist, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of player skill, you know, in terms of people, this guy was like the worst. But yeah, like
I would say that's debatable.
Was just like completely like AFK all week. Didn't build with us. Like we had to like shake him repeatedly to even get like a paste before the match happened. Wouldn't explain thought process. By the end of the season, he had less than 100 messages. We know the whole server was keeping track and like ready to celebrate after the last game. After his last game in playoffs, everyone was like, "All right, he wrapped out the season at 98 messages total. Truly wonderful." Couldn't even get half of the number in his name. But yeah, the fact that he was like a complete ghost, and also apparently like a racist. Please tell me, I guess, if you're going to be a racist so I can get you tour banned, so we don't accidentally draft another one. Like that's, you know, that's value number one. Value number two, please talk to us.
I'll put this out here right now. In effect, we will probably be banning Smogon banned users for this season. So, like, known ones who have been Smogon banned will not be allowed to sign up.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's like a fair trade to increase our possible.
Not every racist is a Smogon banned, but a good couple.
Now we got a couple of hidden racists in here. Let's not call out names right now, but I know a couple of hidden in here in the draft community. Yeah, but anyway, another thing that I think we kind of want to focus on this season is also making sure that people actually like play their games the same way they're mocking. Because I've noticed a lot of the time people just like they say a lot of stuff in prep and then in game they kind of just shoot themselves in the head. So we're trying to look for more consistent players who are actually, regardless of how much they're active as well, it's more of like if they can perform in the actual game. I think that's like more important because if you're all talk and you're actually just completely shitting bricks in the actual game, it's kind of pointless. So yeah, definitely.
I agree with that, but then you gotta also like correct like when they get lost in the sauce. Like if you have me on your team, like I might fake out your ghost type turn one, and like if it works in mocks, I'm doing it in the actual game. I lost a tour game because of that. I went for fake out.
I'm exactly the same way. I will fake out your ghost type in mock.
God, man.
Fully on board. I am Knull's most fucking feared enemy in mocks.
It's a horrible. It's the most bland shit ever. Also, like we also end up mocking each other so goddamn much. Like we've had days where we just mock the exact matchup like probably like 20-30 times with like minor changes just so we can like win this one specific set and like we can play against this one specific move.
Get a job, holy shit.
Yo, I don't hear it. It is what it is, buddies. It is what it is.
Right. All right. Ready for next question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Describe your managing style.
Oh, fuck. It's just not the same thing again. Yeah, I don't know, Esther.
I think like similar to the last question, Knull and I are pretty hands-on. We like to yap. We want you to yap to us. We want you to be able to back up your yap to us. We're very much if you want to do your own thing, you need to both be able to prove that you can do your own thing and also tell us how you're doing your thing. I think it may be like a weakness of our captaining that you know I try to tend to bring I do my best at least to pull up players to my level with like prep help and stuff. Obviously, it's not, it's not perfect. Sometimes my prep is not that great, and you can't fully correct play mistakes with just prep.
So can I ask you a question?
Sometimes I know that can be like suffocating for people who have like a different style. But if you're, it's very hands-on in that way. I think, at least with me. With Null's a bit less. But yeah.
I think definitely another thing we're trying to probably improve this season is maybe also have more trust in like a single player to be able to like handle his own games. Like I don't mind if someone shows up like just before the game to take a paste, as long as they're able to like convince themselves or convince us that they're able to win their games out. I think it's doable. I think we have to maybe adjust to that a bit more ourselves. As like might be a weakness on our side is that we depend too much on seeing the actual results in mocks before we can believe them. But that's something we're trying to focus on, maybe.
Yeah, very, very much see to believe. If you want me to believe in you, you need to show me.
True.
All right, let me ask you two questions. So the way Piranha answered this question, I'll tell you what his answer was. Would you rather a player who is active but doesn't exactly a consistent win slot, right? They make maybe like a coin flip chance to win a game, but they're active. Right? Or would you rather a player who shows up to their games? This is not like a last minute thing. They'll post their pace beforehand, right? But they show up to their games and they win. But they're not active. They're not really helping other teammates. But they are consistent win slot. So I'll use an example. I'll use Miniman from last season. Miniman would show up very like before game day, drop his pace. I would help him fix his pace. And then he wouldn't help other slots. But he would win his games very consistently. Which would you prefer?
I think for sure we've experienced both of these, and I think having a player who, as long as they're able to communicate and they're like able to understand if there's any changes need to be made, and you're like not completely just non-active, that's fine because we'll be helping out the rest of the server anyway. I don't think we expect like much prep help from others. That's not like an expectation. And we've seen people who actually go into games with prep and then completely like bomb it. And sometimes watching your own teammates play is the most mind-numbing thing. So I think like as long as I would definitely choose the option, which as long as they're communicating, if they're winning their games, that's definitely a priority. I'm not sure, but Esther, what do you think?
I agree because like obviously Cookie was more expensive than Miniman, but in terms of that, Cookie was very similar in terms of like we weren't like mocking a shit ton, and Cookie's help to other slots was mostly just like was not much. Cookie was great, would like help out on like important matchups, but not much beyond that, and like Cookie doesn't play Usum, so like I think I got one mock out of Cookie.
I think that was like acceptable as well. Yeah, that was like fine.
Yeah, and that's like totally fine. We don't. I think the thing is we want you to be able to communicate to us. We don't give a shit if you communicate to the rest of the team.
True.
If you're not supporting the rest of the team, that's fine. We'll do that. That's our job.
Right. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to captaining is one of the captains has to be a supporter. You are, I mean, like. Yeah, Esther has been around for a while. You remember the term mock slave, right? Like people would just draft people to be mock slaves, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Captains are glorified mock slaves. Essentially. That is what you are. You more often than not are your team's prep. And it very much is. The captain can make or break the team, right? Now you can be a dead captain and draft a player who will do all that. I.e. Rising last season drafting Piranha Planet, who basically shadow captained the entire team, right? That doesn't make you a good captain. Just because your team made finals, right? Just because your team was maybe like a top seed, right? Or anything like that. Tops, first, third, anything like that, right? Doesn't really matter. It comes down to the player quality and all that kind of stuff, and how you are supporting your team. And you know what? Sometimes people just don't know, right? You don't really know what goes on in the team server, for what it's worth, right? Like, you could look at my team, right? I'll tell you, last season, I went on vacation for like 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks, my team lost both weeks.
That's great.
Yep.
You can tell
Sounds about
exactly
right,
which
yeah.
weeks they were. I was on vacation. If you go look at, you actually go look at like the with the schedule, you'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense why this roster lost to those two teams, right?
So is that saying something about your co-captain? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not trying to say anything.
Shout out to the Sims Captain Season 2. We love you, Ral.
But yeah, I would say in most contexts, I would say I am a prep carry, and when you take away the prep carry from the team, it does leave them like on their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I kind of woke up more towards the end, and then you saw my team kind of steamrolled towards the end, right? Where we beat the first seed back to back into beating second seed, winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. Do I have any other questions? No. Do you have any questions for me?
I'd say what is like maybe the like, are you looking to draft completely new people, or are you gonna stick to some of the like classic players you've been playing with for a while? What's your going into this time? Since you're like a back-to-back champion, is there anything you want to change up this time?
I had a really funny thought in my head, and I was like, "Do you? If I draft an entire team of mid bids, can I carry them to a chip?" No, I wouldn't do that. I thought I thought it was a funny
ego
concept.
on this guy, dude. Holy.
I thought it was a funny concept, but I wouldn't end up doing that.
He drops Trace again, and then all min bids.
Yeah,
80k Trace plus all min bids.
The real answer is I always value new faces. Like old faces, there's no problem with it, right? If you showed me you were a good player, right, and you've helped out with the team and all that kind of stuff, like I would have no problem drafting you again, right? I don't like making promises to people that I'm gonna get you, right, or I'm gonna nom you. I don't like doing that, right? If I think that person is genuinely worth it, or I see like potential in it, I'll do it, right? But in most cases, I don't really like promising people. Even if this person went like 10-0 on my team, like I'll tell them like, look, I'll try to go for you, but like I can't guarantee it. Like if you are way too much, I just gotta give up, right? And stuff like that. I always value new faces because having to team with new people gives me more experience as a manager and lets me be able to better adapt to other stuff like that. Because sometimes you might have like a difficult teammate, right? Normally for me, I'm a very control-y kind of person when it comes to the teams. I want to draft most of the teams. Like last season, I drafted every down bad patrol team. Every single one, right? That was all me. Any bad draft, that was all me, right? Any good draft, all me. And then stuff like that, right? I'm very control-y with the drafts. And I don't mind having a teammate that is like kind of like push back, right? Where they have their own preferences and that because I can adapt to it, right? And I think having somebody who is newer to the team can also gives me a lot more value out of it because maybe this person has like untapped potential. Maybe they're unknown in the community, right? Maybe I can put like a spotlight on them, right? And stuff like that and show off like this player is actually really, really good and stuff like that. It's just no one has given them a chance. Or stuff like that. Or maybe they have a flaw. Like maybe they're not a good builder or they're not a good drafter, but like they're a good player, right? There's stuff like that. And then you can bring out the most in them. And then that kind of stuff.
This player has never clicked Protect before in their career. So I'm going to show you what happens when I put Protect on their Pokemon.
Facts. But yeah, I think I don't mind drafting the same players. I definitely like drafting new players though.
Fair enough.
Anything else you have for me?
I am a little curious on I think the biggest wild card for me personally, looking at the other caps, the biggest unknowns to me are going to be the Sven Justin Tang Captain Core, and then the Vinny Desk Smash Captain Core. You have any insight on how you think they're going to go?
I think for
One of them being
Sev, Justin, Tang, they're both very good players, and I'm sure they'll have an eye to spot out who are good players and who are not just by watching them play because they have a lot of experience. I think the main thing for them is
for sure.
if they are to watch this, my recommendation for your team is you need a draft main, you need a drafter, right? And you're gonna have to find who are the bad draft mains and who are the good ones, right? And then stuff like that, right? You're gonna have to look for that. Look for a drafter. I think that was something that Flipsicle had struggled with. Flipsicle never got good drafters. His teams always had bad drafts. I could tell you between
Always.
2 seasons Flipsicle's captain, I think his team is up there for the worst drafts of both seasons, right? That Milo tick, fastest mon,
The Milotic
mon,
swoosh
Milo
one
tick
is
speed.
horrible.
Yeah, no,
It's
like
truly
come on,
evil.
right?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, right? I mean, that's like an obvious thing. But like, if they, I think that team, if they get like a good drafter, or like even like a decent drafter who like kind of knows what they're doing, that team will take off. That team will do really, really well because they're gonna know that they're gonna have those good players, and if you give those good players good drafts, good prep support, they're gonna take off, right? And I think that's gonna be that X factor for that kind of team. As for Vinny Deathmatch, Vinny Deathmatch is a bit more of an interesting core, because I think from me teaming with Deathmatch is good prep support. He's very good prep support. Yeah. He's definitely a team carry. I would say he's a team carry, especially when he came helped us in playoffs. It helped a lot, like so much. Like I could not think of more for that.
In like season 2 or last season?
Last season, he helped us in playoffs.
Okay.
And I think he's a really good prep. I think it's gonna come down to how it is with Vinny. I don't know if Vinny's gonna buy his own captain slot or not. I think he said he was thinking about it. That kind of stuff. So I think it comes down to how both of their seasons turn out. I think if Deathmatch has a good season, but Vinny has like a bad season, I don't know how well the team would do. But I think if Vinny has a middling season, even like how he did on season 2, where he had a middling season, I think it was like he ended like 4-4. I think that team would be fine. The main thing that team's gonna have to do is they're gonna have to get like just good players, Alex. I mean, like obviously you want good players. I mean, like good,
really?
no, I mean like you want
No
strong.
way.
You want like remember how we talked about it before? Would you rather have someone active, or would you rather have somebody who's a consistent win? I think that team would much prefer the consistent win than versus somebody active, right? Because I think both captains, I think both captains strike me as somebody who'd be very active, especially while captaining. I think Vinny's a good captain. I think he strikes me as he's also very, very active and all that kind of stuff. Very meticulous, very active. If he gets those consistent like win slots, even if they're not that active, as long as he's active behind them, that team will do well. I think they are kind of wild cardy. That might be like this team's about to either dominates or they're about to sneak into playoffs kind of team. Especially like in the best of 8, where like you can tie and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the teams will be a lot closer this season because of the best of 8. Because like almost even last season, it was like if it goes to best of 8, it's going to be like everyone has like decent enough teams where anyone can make playoffs. Genuinely.
Yeah.
Right. You have any other questions for me?
I don't think so. That's about it.
I've got one more. Do you have a cap core whose downfall that you're rooting for? You got a cap core that you're rooting against.
Yeah, I got 2. I got 2 on my mind.
It's crazy.
Yeah, 2.
That's crazy. I just wanted to root against Robin. I thought you were gonna hop on and hate on
Robin Miso, and you and no.
Oh,
Both
that's
crazy.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Both your down.
This guy won't get on to.
I need to prove a
This guy
point.
won't get on to play Legends of Sinnoh with us, and then fucking wants to prey on our downfall. That's crazy.
That's right.
Insane.
I haven't forgiven you guys. I haven't forgiven you guys for saying you to beat me in finals. I haven't forgiven you guys.
We would have. I mean, Loki would have, but okay, keep coping.
I want to prove that Robin needed me. Season 2.
Who saw that last season? What do you mean?
It's so toxic. It's so toxic. I want to prove that Robin. It wasn't I needed Robin. Robin needed me.
Open challenge, open invitation. Miso, let's run it back in Usum. I'll bring my assault vest to Moongus, and you can lose again.
Yeah.
Yo.
No, that captain core. I think that captain core. I really want to see how they're gonna perform. I think that captain
They
core.
definitely have the stronger players for sure.
They have 2 very strong captains behind them. Very strong player. Robin. Robin can either have a really good. I don't think Robin can have a bad season. I don't think he'll have a bad season. I think Robin will either have a very good season or a very middling season. And either
Yeah.
or, he can still put up wins on the board, especially in a best of 8 where you can tie. That's fine. That's valuable because if he can get up that win with that tie, that's perfectly fine, right? I think the main thing with that team is who's calling all the shots? Are they both calling shots, or is it just Robin calling all the shots and then Miso's just like kind of like there for the ride? You know what I mean?
He's like the 30K player for free,
right?
essentially.
That kind of thing, right? Like, how is that dynamic actually going to play out? Which is how I'm interested in seeing it. Because I'm happy Miso's captaining. I want to see that guy way more in the community. You know what I mean? At least on this side.
True.
I'm happy whenever he signs up. That's the GOAT for sure.
I believe he went like 40K last time, so
sure,
yeah, definitely.
Miso needs to stop being in the player pool, bro. This guy's going for too much. He goes for too much. I don't know how you back to back can go for 40K into 50K, and like I couldn't. As soon as I go for 50K,
the Mon's economy is in shambles.
As soon as I go for 50K next season, I'm captaining. You save 30K. You get to save 30K. Like, come on now.
True.
But yeah, I think that team will be interesting. Yeah.
I think we've already seen, like, I think Plant has already said, like, Tio is pretty much not even going to be, like, captaining. It's just, he wanted his 40K player for, like, 20K. So that's why he just picked up Tio.
I'm sure he will, because he's had captain experience. They might just...
No, Tio is, like, a GOAT. He captained for DO World Cup India as well. I was part of his team. Tio's a GOAT.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. You were on that team. Yeah. Yeah, those would be the two teams I would want to see fail. Mostly because I think they're two of the stronger teams that I could see myself losing to. That's the main reason. If those teams are doing bad,
they don't make
regular
season.
If they don't make playoffs, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about most of the other teams in playoffs. I'm not. Maybe the Piranha Plant TO team, but by plot armor, I'm gonna beat that team because I always beat that team in playoffs. That's plot armor. That's my plot armor, right?
You can't get away with it forever, and hopefully, too. We gotta get
Nah, third time's not the charm. Third time's not the charm. Third time's not the charm.
It's
not this time around. I'm calling it right now. Third time is not the charm. I will beat Plant in playoffs. Third time is not the charm. If I make playoffs.
I'm looking for any player who has beat Hopeless ever. We need to channel some of your plot armor.
Bro, you can find a million people that beat me ever. There's like 17 people in player ops. People be like, yeah, I beat Hopeless.
Where is Pumpkin, dude, the Hopeless Slayer?
Yeah, you need Pumpkin Hopeless Slayer, bro. I smoked Pumpkin season 2.
No, he's the Hopeless Slayer.
Dude, we're not even gonna start there. I ate that guy season 2. I got my lick back. But yeah, that would be the main reason. Is I think your team and his team are very threatening in playoffs. Very threatening, especially behind like how the Captain Core personalities. Those teams are gonna go even harder than before. And if they were already a good team, that's scary. Yeah. All right. So let's do some quick questions. It's gonna be the same ones like Ice Plant. We're gonna start out here. High tier, low tier, or mid tier tailwind setters. What do you guys prefer?
I think as long as that's priority, I think most tailwind setters can be decent. I feel like the no party ones are just really, like Torn. Like Torn is one of the mons which I feel like, even though everybody just grabs it because like, oh, it's fast enough. Like the Kilowatt roll, it's like they're all fast enough, but they're like such dead slots when like you can barely get off tailwind half the time. So I feel like it's more of a priority thing rather than the tier.
So like the high tier prankster tailwind setters is what you're saying? Because there's priority tailwind setters, right? There's like a fletchling.
Yeah.
Would you prefer a fletchling versus like an Iron Douglas?
I think it's. I don't think it matters as much in my opinion, but I think obviously like the early game. I think even like Talon can be often stated to be like fine. I don't think it's as good as it even being pretty high tier. So I don't think it's like tier based in my opinion. But
okay. Is that just in like SV or is that like across every gen?
I'll talk about SV specifically right now. Because, like, I'm sure Ester has thoughts about Usum anyway.
What do you think?
Yeah, Null gives 0 fucks about speed control and swish because you don't need to give a shit about speed control and swish. You just click my stream. In SV, I think Null, in terms of like high tier versus low tier, Null likes himself some tailwind bugs. They're LMIs.
Kill me
Mid-tier
so.
pranks the tailwind. That's where I think Null sits.
Mhm.
In SV, I'm so out of practice, but I'm generally I like to grab my one high tier tailwind though. In SV.
Mhm.
In Usum, where I have real thoughts, because that's the only tier I play, I guess. But yeah, I like kind of like mid tier tailwinders in Usum.
Mhm. So let's describe what is a mid tier tailwind.
I got a lot of value out of Rabombi, for example.
So you know Rabombi actually moved up this season, right?
No way. This guy is a hater.
You keep telling me about moving up. You moved it up for WBG, I think.
I think it's sitting at like 14 or 15 right now, somewhere around there.
Dude, it's gonna have like an 8-point Aerodactyl. And you're gonna have like an 8-point Aerodactyl and swoosh. I know this guy. This guy is
Aerodactyl's sitting at like 15 right now. I'm like crying right now, bro.
What the hell?
Faye moved it up. Faye moved it up again.
15? Dude, Robin's doing some hating. Holy.
That's fire. I fuck with that. Yeah. Mid tier in before dynamic speed, high tier for me in SV.
Mm-hmm. For me, I'm a fan. I'm not a fan of the bugs. I don't really like them. I'm a big fan of Whim's Torn. I'm a very much a Roaring Moon enjoyer. I think Roaring Moon's broken. I really like Iron Jug as well. I think those are like the 4 you should go for. I think Talonflame's okay. The bugs are alright. It kind of depends on what your team comp is. I don't think you should do more than anything lower than that. I think it's kind of fake.
Agree.
But Kilowattrel, I think, is the worst you go if you really need Tailwind.
Kilowattrel,
I think Kilowattrel can have a good matchup. I've seen Kilowattrel go crazy.
If you suggest Kilowattrel on one of the Octilleries dropped, I will time you out for a day.
Yeah. No. I don't blame you. I did the same thing in Map Patrol where the Kilowattrel got suggested, and I deleted the suggestion and say never suggest it again.
I agree.
Now, that would be the worst you would go. Now, Usum, I actually prefer the high tier Tailwind setters. So who are my high tiers? Zapdos.
Interesting.
Zapdos, and I think Naganadel.
I also have a Zapdos on my team. So I had high tier and mid tiers. Mm-hmm. I think I didn't use Zapdos for Tailwind as much. I kind of
because you did have a faster option.
Big Zapdos,
but
yeah. Rabombi ended up being like my main Tailwinder.
Stuff like
Torn, but I had a high tier Tailwinder.
Torn T, Crobat, very very good. Mega Arrow, very good Tailwind setter. Stuff like that.
Yeah, Mega Arrow's. I mean, since you mentioned it, I've obviously been like thinking about Mons. And I was looking at stuff when the last WBG season was out. Arrow was one of those sleeper Mons that I was like heavily considering like busting out for a WBG season.
Mega Arrow has some really good.
Kind of have a surprise.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many teams fold to Mega Arrow. The Mega Lotties both have Tailwind and stuff like that, right? So there's a lot of Tailwind setters up there in those high tiers that are very strong that I prefer and use them. Swish,
I think the difference for me is your high tier mons. I don't want like a high tier support mon with Tailwind. I want like a high tier attacker that can also Tailwind. Like Naganadel. Naganadel was also another one of the mons that I really like using. It's mostly an attacker, but it can also Tailwind.
Right, exactly.
Zapdos is Zapdos. It can also Tailwind.
Those turns they expect you to attack and you click Tailwind, you get so much value out of, right?
Exactly.
It's very good. Very, very good. Now, for Swish, I actually prefer mid-tier Tailwind setters. Usually they end up being more supporty in a sense, but that's fine because those are your mid-tiers, right? And I prefer the mid-tier.
Swish has like no Tailwind setters because
a lot of Pokemon don't get it. I think notably
Whims is so dominant though. It's very dominant in the top tiers.
The Whimsicott, Torn are your big two, but I don't really like Swish Torn. I don't
like Torn, but I fuck with Whims.
Yeah, no, Whims. You can never have a bad Whimsicott draft. See, like when I'm thinking like mid tiers, I'm thinking like Crobat, Aerodactyl. Well, Aerodactyl before we moved him up to 15 for some reason.
That guy's a high tier now.
That guy's a high tier now for some reason. Rabombi's very good. Like all those monsters are very good in Swish. I would say they're all mid tiers, right? And they're all very, very strong for what they do. That's why I would prefer the mid tiers. because they do more than just set
Yeah.
Tailwind. They're very good utility. Like Crobat can
Exactly.
Hypnosis, right? Aerodactyl is a very cool niche where because of Unnerve, you can't resist Berry through like a Dynamax Pokemon anymore, which was its main niche, right? It's very, very good with weakness policy strats, stuff like that, while being able to max itself, which was its main value. Wide guard stuff like that too was really good on it. I also had Whirlwind and Roar to kill fucking Trick Room stuff, which is why it was I always considered it very, very good. All right.
I think Crobat's great. I'm a fan.
Yeah, Crobat's amazing. Very sleeper mon. Next is let's do Trick Room setters. We're gonna do high tier, mid tier, or low tier Trick Room setters. What do you prefer?
I mean, Null can start with
yeah. I think, this is kind of hard though, because I've seen success with a lot of ones, but I think the high tier Trick Room ones are very like dominant a lot of the time. Like I've seen like, we can say like what's it called, Tio performed so well with like Porygon, making it both like an offensive tool as well as like a Trick Room setter, and just like making it so that you really don't know whether to just attack turn one or like play a bit more passively. Mm-hmm. So for sure, I've seen like a lot of success from the mid tiers as well. I think a lot of the decent mid tiers are like in Swoosh especially are like quite viable. I know some people don't like love like the middling ones like Musharna and stuff. I've seen like okay success with them, but I think the ones which are like above like a bit higher tier, at least in Swoosh, that would be like maybe Cresselia is always decent. It's not too great in Swoosh, but
I think we moved down Cresselia actually.
It's not really been picked up ever.
In Tearing Chat is, what does this do? LMAO, move it down. Those are the exact words for Cresselia.
True. I think in Swoosh I usually lean a bit lower, but I think in SV higher ones can be definitely effective.
I noticed one of your teams last season had success with a high tier Trick Room setter. Do you know which team that was? Do you remember?
We had the Feeny team. We had
it was an SV team. It was an SV team. Do you remember your SV team?
Oh, SV?
Yeah.
Damn, this guy's putting me on the spot. Holy shit. We had the Ogre Spawn team. We had the Urshifu team. We had the Sinistra. Sinistra's the GOAT, dude.
Sinistra was on your Shifu team.
Oh, Sinistra's fucking so good.
Yeah, Sinistra's a high tier Trick Room setter. That's right. It is. Yep.
That's true too. Sinistra is insanely good, especially with next to like Blood Moon or Iron Hands. I think Sinistra is like absolutely so abusable. Very, and it's like a good for like it's good in even like Tailor Room teams. I think like Sinistra actually prefers Tailor Room teams where you don't know if it's coming in the back, you're just absolutely gooped if you're not prepared for it.
Sinistra has a very high speed stat for some reason. It's 70 speed. It's very, very high. It definitely plays the Tailor Room very well. I think that team, your bottom four was goofy, but your top four was so strong it didn't really matter. Me and Plant talked about it, where like that team was disgusting, but then your bottom four were just terrible on that team.
Yeah, it didn't round off very well. But
so good. Your top four was so good.
As long as you have like Fake Out next to Urshifu, Roaring Moon, Blood Moon, and Sinistra, if you just need like Fake Out and maybe one more mon next to it, and you're like actually.
I don't think your team had Fake Out.
It did. It had Morgrim for like.
Yeah. Which was like
Morgrim is technically Fake Out.
Like, I remember that Morgrim came to a lot of games.
Like Cookie preferred it a lot.
We talked about it during the season. Cookie made that Morgrim look like it was like a 10-point mon.
Yeah, it was quite effective with like fake tears, parting shot, fake out. It was doing a lot actually.
We can get to it. We'll get to that Pokemon later when we come to Fake Out. Next, we talked about Fish. We talked about SV. Usum is an interesting one for Trick Room setters. What do you prefer, Esther?
Yeah. So I am my preferences like pretty extreme. I have like almost like especially in 8mon. In 11mon, I'm much more like Trick Room. Like I like having a Trick Room mode. But a lot of my teams just won't touch Trick Room as like an actual concept. But if I have to pick, I think I would rather have like like Sinistra's weird because in my head it's not a high tier mon because I'm thinking of high tier as top tier, but it is high. I like the Sinistra type of mon. Usum Cress. I've done some play with that as well. Kind of mons that are fat trick room setters that are hard to kill. But they don't just do trick room. Because I never like basing any of my offense around trick room. I hate it. I'm fast offense through and through.
I think there were some really good trick room setters in Usum. I think they actually fall in the mid tier. One of the ones that comes up to my mind is Jellicent.
Actually, true. Because fortunately I got bailed out by you not dropping an Usum player, so I got fully saved.
Right.
But the matchup I had against you guys, the Jellicent was kind of annoying for my team.
Yeah,
like,
Jellicent's
kind of
really good.
It's kind of an issue. I had to dedicate a lot more than I wanted to stopping it.
I think I actually prefer a lot of the trick room setters than Usum. I think Usum is actually one of their stronger gens. The access to Z moves and other stuff like that. Trick room setters are guaranteed to get out their trick room. Stuff like that.
Z trick room is so good.
Yeah, Z trick room
is so
especially
good.
if you're especially because it opens up a lot of trick room setters who make them really good, right? Bronzong and Gothitelle are two examples of trick room setters who are kind of insane. Especially with Z trick room because you get the accuracy boost and they just start clicking hypnosis, right? And them being able to have Bronzong being that slow and being able to click hypnosis is crazy. Gothitelle being able to lock you down in your position and then being able to sleep you can be game changing. Other stuff like that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it is one of their stronger gens. I think there are a couple of good. I know you said you didn't really rate offensive ones. I actually do like the offensive ones in that gen. They're all usually around the mid tier as well, which is the main thing. I prefer
don't mind
the mid tier ones. Go ahead.
I don't like the. I want to correct. I don't like basing my offense around trick room. I generally prefer tailwind. Okay. I like my trick room attackers being able to. I like my trick room setters being able to do stuff as well.
Yeah.
I don't like the purely support ones are a bit like iffy if they don't have like hypnosis.
I mean, like it's only a couple of them, right? And some of them have makeup. Like I wouldn't say like a Jellicent's purely offensive, but it can go offensive because that's like water spout, right? Something like a Musharna. Musharna has hypnosis, right? It's a very niche few that don't have access to that move plus trick room. A couple niche ones. Some of them make up for other stuff. Even like I think Gardevoir and Gallade both have hypnosis as well and trick room, right? So like they can definitely do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even though they're not amazing trick room setters, they can do it. I prefer my trick room setters to be a bit more offensive, like the Gardevoir and the Gallades. I think the Jellicent as well. I like stuff like Reuniclus because Reuniclus can just turn around and just like randomly Z you and delete them off the field while being a meter score. That kind of
what is it? Like 135 base special attack?
Reuniclus has a really high. I don't know if it's 135. It might be like 130, but it's very high. And it has like decent bulk too. Like it's not easy to remove like immediately without like Zing it, right?
125, not 135.
Still not that bad because it's like Magic Guard Life Orb still. It could easily delete a Pokemon off the field.
Yeah, for sure.
Stuff like that, right? And I think some of the higher tier Trick Room setters in Usum. So my main example was Cresselia. Cresselia's better set is actually Calm Mind IMO, not Trick Room. It's better Calm Mind.
Agree.
Because Cresselia is really hard to remove, especially once it gets going in that tier. And with access to super berries and stuff like that, its longevity has a lot of longevity. And some of the dark types aren't. Yeah. This isn't like SV where there's dark types everywhere, right? Your dark types aren't amazing. Like, who is your best dark type in that tier? Like, in your opinion, like what? It's like Instant, right? Instant Crook, like top 2.
Maybe Scrafty.
Scrafty's 4 times weak to Fairy. It's gonna get bopped by Cresselia.
Instant, like is kind of a struggle because it's like one of those mons that doesn't get drafted or gets drafted later because it's the standard mon. You don't want to draft the standard mon in a draft tournament. Everyone knows what it does.
Right.
It still does it fine. It's just like
I think it's still good.
It doesn't have
still good.
Yeah, it doesn't have the variability that it doesn't want.
Yeah, it is technically the best dark type, but you are right in that a lot of dark types just aren't there. Like the next one down is like Tyranitar, and Tyranitar also doesn't get drafted because it's got a major weakness, and sand teams are like a bit iffy. Look, Mega Gyarados is kind of an underrated pick, but it's a dark type. Gren doesn't really count. It's like not it just gets nuked by random T-Bolt or Moonblast, so it's like it's not fulfilling the it's not sticking around long enough to be the defensive answer to Cress. Yeah, there's not really like that many dark types. All of them have like exploitable weaknesses, besides I guess Imsin, which is yeah.
Right. That's
my
why I
favorite
say
dark type is like the Crook or Persian or something like a mid tier dark.
right. That's
Something
why I
that
think
is
the mid
fat
tier
and has some kind of support tool.
better. Mostly because your high tiers are like P2 and good Crest. I think are your two high tier Trick Room setters.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are only two in
Yeah.
high tier. All the other ones are like around the mid tier. And P2 is very good, but like P2 is like best as like what Z conversion, right? It's just unkillable essentially.
Bro, I the in Radar in the multi-gen season, Sep was preparing for a guy who had PZ Mega God of War, and like every game, the guy was bringing like Z conversion plus Psych Up Mega God of War.
That's Heat. That's Raymond, right?
And no, I was helping Sep. This
no,
was a
Raymond
Sep
brought
matchup
the
like-
PZ God of War.
Was it? No, because I didn't help against Raymond. It was someone else.
I know Raymond signed up this season. I think he won, right? Yeah,
Raymond won Radar, but I'm talking about a random opponent in Radar.
I don't know who you're talking about.
It wasn't finals. It was just a random matchup that I helped with.
Go ahead.
And it was Mega God plus PZ, and holy fuck, you get that Psych Up off. Holy fuck! +1 everything Mega God of War is fucking like, it's like
yeah,
crack.
no, that's crazy. It's crazy. And you can EV it. You can EV it to a God of War goes immediately after PZ too. Like, no, definitely.
It was by E Manor, by the way. E Manor.
Okay. I don't know if he signed up. Yeah. So I think the mid tiers are better in Usum. I think Usum is definitely a mid tier gen. I prefer
mid tier heavy.
I only really like Sinistra in SV. I don't really like Crest. I think Crest is bad in SV. I think there's too many dark types for it. I think the comps that Crest works on are very rare and few. I think actually me and Faye made some Crest comps that we kind of liked. But it was mostly I'm gonna give you a spoiler. It was like Crest Smeargles kind of stuff. So it got like kind of degen because if you gotta find a way to make the Crest like not useless. And it was like decorate Smeargle like randomly the Crest, right? And like stuff like that.
That's fire.
It had to be stuff like that to make Crest not useless, right? Otherwise, Crest could just sit there and be a liability the entire game, essentially. For sure.
Wait. What if you just have Alcremie with decorate? Then you get a Rimavale.
No, because Alcremie's bad. Alcremie's bad. You use Smeargle, it's funnier.
Alcremie sucks.
We also moved down Smeargle this season to make it more draftable.
Thank God, that guy's never drafted.
That guy's gonna get drafted this season. Just wait. All right.
It's gonna get drafted this season, and then Robin next season is gonna move it back up.
Move it back up, right? Facts.
That's Robin has said like multiple times that he does that. He sees stuff get drafted or sees like shit like Smeargle in particular that have like a specific thing, and it's just like, yep, nope, we're fucking making this undraftable. I don't care.
I do that
if it's
too. Wait, I do that too.
Point.
That's also me. I also do that. All right, let's move on.
I just don't want to see it, so it needs to be undraftable.
Well, we got two left. We got Fake Out and Follow Me. So let's do Fake Out. We got high tier, mid tier, and low tier Fake Out.
Interesting. I think for Swoosh, I guess let's say first, like Swoosh, like is one of the few formats in which, like, yeah, you can avoid with like Dynamax, you can avoid Fake Out, but I think just having the pressure and like forcing some mons to max could make it valuable. So you definitely do need Fake Out. It's not like avoidable, but like, dude, there's like no top tier like Fake Outers in general. There's Rillaboom, which is the goat. Actually, Rillaboom is just insane as a mon. I don't know if it's like how useful it is as like a Fake Outer. I think it's just one of the best like maxers and just regular non-max mons.
It just puts a lot of pressure on field, which is correct.
Sorry. Sorry, what?
Rillaboom just puts a lot. Once Rillaboom hits the field, it puts a lot of pressure out, especially if Max isn't up for the other side. Rillaboom is putting a lot of pressure on because of the fake out. It has fake out pressure and stuff like that. Or it can do
Yeah. But that's like the only mon I'd say in the top like 3-4 tiers that's viable. And it's like you can use like fake out Blastoise, but then Blastoise is such a max hog, and you really want to use that G Max move as well. So like I think there's almost like no other than Rillaboom viable fake out in the top and Swish.
I
You
would
almost have
disagree
to.
with you on that one. I think Blastoise is very real. Last season, Soul
Sorry, which
Survivor. Last season, Soul Survivor had a lot of success. He was maxing Blastoise with fake out on a set.
Yeah. Blastoise, I mean, you can't, I don't think Blastoise, you think Blastoise is good enough to be a solo fake out mon? I feel like it often needs, like, you want it next to something else that can fake out too. You don't want it to be your solo fake out mon for the entire team.
We had it with Urshifu. Where you have that
gotcha.
Pokemon that can apply the pressure immediately, right? And other stuff like that. So maybe after Blastoise gets its max off, maybe you switch out the Blastoise, and then you come in and fake out, right? Or you come in, fake out something, and then you max next turn, right? And other stuff like that. Or you play a fake out 50-50 with Shifu on field, and then but you max instead, right? There's a bunch of stuff like that Blastoise can do. It kind of depends on how you work your team around it.
Yeah, Blastoise is a very flexible mon in one sense, but also like very Dynamax hog in some senses. So it's I think it definitely depends on the comp for sure. But yeah, I think I've seen a lot of success from like Hitmonlee and stuff in like the mid tiers. Like a lot of people have been using that to good success, like really fast fake out with Hitmonlee, or like even getting pretty decently mid tier fast fake out with stuff like what else, like Sneasel and stuff like that. Like I've seen Weavile, Sneasel being decent, but I don't know. I feel like this is one of the tiers where it's like you can go pretty low in terms of fake out just to get the mon you need to fill the slot and be decent with it. Unless you can get Rillaboom, of course, and then Rillaboom's gonna be high value. But I've seen people try Incineroar out in Swoosh, and like, dude, you have to really work hard to make it work. Like, I think Wetside often prefers that balance Rillaboom Incineroar core with Zapdos and stuff.
No, DN loves that. That's DN. He loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Theans loves that.
I think
that's like one of the few people who I've actually seen use Instant.
I think if you use the more SV oriented sets on Instant and Switch, you might have more success with it.
Yeah,
that sounds funny. But like the instant, they just drop Flare Blitz, but you run like Party Shot, Wisp, and Knock. You might actually find success with it in Swish. I think that's actually a decent set in Swish. I think instant being able to Wisp is kind of huge for it. I don't see a lot of people consider Wisp on their set in draft.
Yeah, that's true. And also in terms of like SV, I think though like Covert Cloak exists, I think just having a mon which can force like Covert Cloak on like a bunch of mons or Terra Ghosts, where they could have have a different defensive Terra type. I think like having a good fake out where it's like really important. You want to force annoying prep for sure.
There is no other answer than high tier in SV.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have Iron Hand. You have both Iron Hand and Rillaboom up there. Like, what are you doing? Like that? It's always high tier.
Even shit like Sneasler as well. It's like so forcing. It's like, fuck, man. I don't. Sneasler cheats a bit because it's also got Diaclaw to force the Covert Cloak, but like, you know, the high tier fake out options are just like so forcing.
You also have Indeedee, which is actually pretty interesting. Indeedee F is also a high tier fake out option, but it's not clicking it too often. But it does actually force Cloak, because let's say you throw out your Torn, right? Your Torn in front of Indeedee, you're not grounded. Indeedee could very easily click fake out on you and ruin your entire game plan right then and there. Especially if your Pokemon is not
I've seen it happen. It's so fucking insane. I love it.
And there's even like Tinkaton and like the mid high tiers. There's so many mons that you like have to have like pretty good tier fake out in SV for sure.
No, I think it's so. I'll answer here for Ester and Usum. I'm pretty sure we might say the same thing. I think it's the mid tier fake out in Usum. The mid tiers are like Scrafty, Hitmontop, and like I think Instant's pretty high. I think Instant's like one of the few high ones. I don't remember off the top of my head is there anyone else up there for high tier fake out. But I know in mid tier you have Scrafty, Hitmontop, and Persian Alola, which are kind of huge.
Yeah, the high tier fake out is literally it's literally Incineroar and Mega Kang.
No, you have Mega Medicham. You have Mega Medicham too. So I guess it kind of comes down to
Mega Medicham is also in like one of those weird undraftable points slots.
Mega Lopunny is also up there. There's also Mega Lopunny. Yep.
Yeah, Mega Lopunny is interesting. I'm kind of curious because it's got some interesting tools, but I don't know if I'd ever draft it at the point tier that it was at
Mhm.
last time
I think the best one out of all of them
check.
is Instance Grassy and Usum. Like, hands down. Mega Kang is
And
good.
also another mod shout out is probably like Hariyama. I think we're very Hariyama pilled. Seeing
Hariyama's
that in
good.
one form sometimes.
Hariyama is one of those
Yeah.
Pokemon that would actually work with those mid-tier Trick Room setters. Yo, like, let me
Yeah,
know.
for
Let me
sure.
know, Esther. Yo, Jealous at Hariyama core this season. Like, go crazy, bro.
Jellicent's annoying when I
Jellicent's
prep, but
cheap.
it's not the type of
Jellicent
one
is
that I'm
cheap. If you
probably
get
gonna.
if you get like a sand team like I had, you put Jellicent on that thing, bro. It's cheap.
Yeah, for sure.
Just
for
don't
sure,
put
for
Mega
sure.
Mint on your sand team like I did.
Your Mega Mint Sand team last season was like really strong. I'm kind of glad you had no one to pilot it because trying to win a mock for that was like annoying because I just had to outplay every time. There was no like consistent path to like being able to win every line. It was just always I have to guess or punish their mistake.
And then Thunders on this wall, so it was even more pressuring.
Yeah, the Thunderous is fucking annoying.
No, I think that team was really strong. It's just we
Usum
didn't have
Fake
anybody
Out.
good to pilot it. I think towards
Yeah.
the end, like Keith was actually doing pretty well in Usum towards the end, though.
Yeah, for sure. On Usum Fake Out, Usum Fake Out is maybe the most fucking ridiculously good move. And you don't want, even if there was a bunch of top tiers that had it, like Mega Kang has it. I feel as though you don't want your top tier to be clicking Fake Out, even though it's like it's very strong, but you don't want your main thing to be clicking Fake Out because you want your main thing to be attacking. There's no covert click, there's no Terra Ghost. You just can always get Fake Out pressure. It's very easy to kind of like Fake Out cycle. So you want your strong high tier thing to be the beneficiary of the Fake Out cycling. You want it to not be the thing that is clicking Fake Out. You want it to be the thing that is like, oh, you can't, this mon can't attack, I'm going to take advantage of that.
I think I disagree with you on that end. I think Kangaskhan in particular. I think because you listed Mega Kangaskhan specifically, I'm gonna disagree with you on that. If you listed like a Mega Medicham or Mega Lopunny, maybe I think Mega Kangaskhan is very strong on its own, and there's a lot of things it can do that can really like mess you up, especially if you get the Fake Out turn wrong. If you predict Fake Out and you go to punish Fake Out, maybe by like protecting or something, there's very easily Mega Kang can do a lot of things, right?
I do agree that Mega Kang is like is better. Mega Kang is a bad example because it is pretty self-sufficient.
Yo, just wait when they click double protect and then they side power up punch their partner, bro. You're cooked. You're cooked. You're cooked.
So true. But yeah, stuff like Mega Lop, Mega Medicham, those kinds of things you would much rather just be clicking attacks with. I'm very Blastoise pilled. I like my Blastoise stuff. I like my Persian. I like my kind of fat thing that clicks Fake Out and absorbs hits. Maybe has like speed control with Icy Wind. But yeah, besides Kang, which is a specific case because Mega Kang is like very versatile, and it's just that the mind games that it creates. But stuff like Insin, I know that other people like Insin. I'm a bit more iffy on it. It's like okay, it doesn't fit on the team, so I like to play with. But its Fake Out shuffle is very good. I would just prefer to shuffle with something cheaper so that my stronger things can attack and take advantage of Fake Out.
Okay. Good reasoning. All right. We're gonna wrap this up here. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Not much. Maybe we'll shout out anyone else who's interested in joining our team. So if you're new, maybe shoot Esther and me a DM as well.
DM.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Let's be real. Shoot Null a DM. I will either see it and send it to Null, or I will see it and forget. So, send it to Null.
Yeah, don't
DM
DM Null. DM me. 2-time champion right here. You want to be a champion? You DM me. I'm a champion maker.
Yeah.
Every single hopeless player ends up being an absolute gooner. It's just warning all people. Like, you will end up a different person than you start off, 100%.
It's their future prospect to be a gooner.
Yep.
They want to
Wait,
be a
hopeless.
gooner.
We forgot about fucking redirection.
No,
You said
it's
there was two more
okay. It's
things
okay.
and
We
then cut
can
off the
forget
fake
about
out.
redirection. It's okay. It's not important. It's not important.
I just that's crazy.
The redirection's fraud anyway. It's like
The answer for redirection.
Hopeless says redirection is fake. All
The answer
done,
for
wrap it up.
redirection,
Video done.
SV high tier because of Ogrepon, Swish low tier doesn't matter Dynamax, and then Usum
Yep.
LMAO. Like, Among Us, that's it. That's the answer.
Spupa, dude. Spupa's the goat.
Spupog. Those are the answers. Let's be real here.
So true.
Right. I'm gonna end the recording soon. All right, we're off.
Alrighty.
Yeah.